before the program, we chatted a little bit, and I learned that you have been working programming short films for many years, 10 plus years at the Kyiv International Shorts Film Festival. And I would love to hear you begin by just telling us a little bit about your experience programming the festival in these last war years. And has your thinking about your work changed? And, thinking about these filmmakers that you work with as well, and kind of what the short film can do, in particular, just in these, in the recent past.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, I think my perception of my work and the festival in general changed dramatically. And I remember very vividly how we had our first edition in 2022 after the full-scale invasion started. We had to delay a festival for several months because we were just not ready to uh, go to the cinema and just finish the program and everything. Everyone from our team were just spread all over Ukraine and Europe. Um, and I remember this feeling when I first entered the screening room and there were people in the audience and I was like, like that's the most important thing. Like we are alive, we are here, and we have our audience. And I think like after that, I completely overcame my fear of speaking out loud in public because it's like it doesn't matter if I fuck up because yeah, like there are way scarier things.
Wow. Of course. And how can you report to us? We have these amazing, brave filmmakers continuing to make work. Is there anything you can share with us just about, process or lives or anecdotes about these particular films, since we obviously don't have the filmmakers with us here tonight?
Well, they are very different. Some of them are like these are their first or second short films. For example, Under the Sign of Anchor, if I'm not wrong, this is the first short film by Taras. Also, the very first short film about good bread. So they are just starting their filmmaking journey as directors, but they have other experience as editors and yada yada. But for Marta and Mila, they most of the time work abroad. Mila is based in Munich, so and she moved there with her family way before the full-scale invasion. So she mostly create there, but I really appreciate that she keeps this connection with Ukraine alive, and that's her main focus of her work. And yeah, so all of them work in very different circumstances and also in very different with very different opportunities it means to work because and now when we live in the times of war, it's a big struggle for males, for example, to um, go abroad and participate in like international programs like Doc Nomads. So they have way less opportunities to be present in like this big international film industry. So I think this is like one of the key points of my work. On one hand, to try to show these films as much as possible and try to talk about these filmmakers as much as possible and give them platform. And on the other hand, to try and bring these opportunities to Ukraine. So even though they can't cross the border, they can still um, grow up and well, grow and yeah, keep creating movies.
Yeah, and I appreciated what you said before the films began about this idea of home. And I felt I saw the through lines through the four films about, exile, history and memory. The third film that you were just mentioning, the Munich film, sort of a dreamlike experience of crossing time and space. Um, just wondering if you want to say anything more about those themes or through lines, or did I miss one? I also felt like the contrast between the mundane and the horrific, just side by side, was something that really struck me.
Yes, and I think like the last two films, they really show it very nicely. How, like in Ukrainian reality, these things they are so intertwined with our lives that you can just go from talking about your crush and then you jump into missile threats and the homesickness and like all this horror that we're living through. Um, yeah, I think as like far as for like the topics that I tried to explore, yeah, just home and homeland as some metaphysical space, I would say. And yeah, how uh, home it's not just the territory, it's not just geography, it's also the scope of our responsibilities. And yeah, also our history that is repeating itself.
For sure, and so many moving ways in which those themes were articulated cinematically, and like you said, the kind of turning on a dime from, again, sort of the mundane into just such moving testimonials, such insight into really personal interior lives. I thought was very moving.